Hi, I'm Claude Shirati and thank you for tuning in. In this edition of Media Watch, we will be analysing a recent Channel 7 report in relation to an incident that took place in Melton in Melbourne. We'll be looking at how that report was put together, some of the assumptions that were made, and some of the questions that are raised from that.
A gang of Sudanese teenagers armed with wooden stakes has kicked down the front door of a family's home and stormed inside. The mother and father were threatened as they cowered in their bedroom while their young daughter slept nearby.
The family are still recovering from their horrific ordeal after they were woken by 6 Sudanese teenagers standing over their bed at Kurrajong in Melbourne's outer west.
When I woke up, one of them was there turning the light on. There was already one next to me. One was standing right here.
The gang kicked in the front door and, armed with wooden stakes, threatened the couple to hand over their phones, wallets and the keys to Sam's brand new Holden.
They kept banging the sticks on the bed too, so they're just making a lot of noise, and it's just really scary.
Their 5-year-old daughter was asleep in the room next door as one armed teen tried to approach the bedroom. Another could be heard saying, "Leave her alone, she's only a kid."
It's just surreal just waking up to them just there.
After the harrowing experience, the thugs took off in Sam's car. It was involved in a pursuit 30 kilometres away here in Broadmeadows. It was crashed into a fence and it was then police were able to catch up with 3 teenagers. Another 3 ran off. A 14 and 15-year-old from Melton were arrested by police and faced many charges, including assault with a weapon. They were both on bail at the time. An 18-year-old was released pending charges.
It kind of makes you feel unsafe in your own backyard when people that are doing wrong are just getting a slap on the wrist and see you later.
And Tegan Doling is in Broadmeadows this evening. Tegan, have police caught up with the 3 offenders who fled from there?
Mitch, the hunt is still on for the 3 remaining teenagers. They were last seen running from the crashed car, which is actually just around the corner from here on Wriggle Street early yesterday morning. They are all Sudanese and believed to be in their late teens. And police have told me that when they do finally catch up with the trio, they'll be facing a long list of charges.
That's the story. What do you make of it? Well, I'll tell you what I think. Number one, both the journalist in the studio and the reporter on the field used the word Sudanese 3 times. I wonder whether it was necessary for them to use that word 3 times. Let me explain more what I mean. First, how do these 2 reporters or journalists know that the individuals involved in this incident were Sudanese? I understand 3 individuals were captured by the police and 3 were missing. Isn't that the job of the police to actually say that the individuals who have been apprehended and those who are missing are both South Sudanese or Australian, for example? The journalists should let the police say this rather than themselves. And why do I say this? Well, the interesting thing is there is actually a difference between Sudanese and South Sudanese. And it looks to me that the 2 journalists in this report do not know that difference. They're saying these young offenders are Sudanese. I understand from the story that they're probably talking about South Sudanese. There is a country in Africa called Sudan. There is another called South Sudan. These are 2 separate countries. And just because someone looks like he's South Sudanese, it does not necessarily mean that he is. They also omit the Australian identity of these young people. Now, I'm assuming, and I'm saying so, that the journalists were talking about individuals from a South Sudanese background. Now, these young people may have actually been born here. Therefore, it's not right to call them Sudanese. You can call them South Sudanese Australian or Australians from South Sudanese background. That's more accurate than just calling Sudanese. And I am saying that the choice of the word Sudanese in this report, it's quite loaded for me. And the reason is the journalists do not want to link these individuals with the Australian identity. Now, just imagine, for example, that this robbery was perpetrated by young people from either an Irish or maybe Italian background. And just imagine yourself, the reporter saying 6 young Italians broke into a family home in Melton. Would you not agree with me that it would sound a bit weird? 6 young Irish persons? No. You would just say 6 young individuals, 6 teenagers, or whatever other description you have, that is sort of neutral, does not go into ethnicity or nationality. It's the work of the police to determine the identity of the people, and quite often in the Australian media, they go very fast in talking about the ethnicity of the alleged perpetrator when it suits them, and often it has a racist connotation because they only do that when it's about Africans or other migrants. They don't do it when it's about the Australian population here that comes from different nationality, Irish, English, Greek, Italian, and all that sort of thing. And us as Africans, we are bearing the brunt of that unfair and unethical reporting in the media. Even though it's not always a wrong thing to talk about the ethnicity of the individuals involved in some sort of incident or crime or whatever story it is, sometimes it could be justified. The other thing is also the use of the word gang and thugs and all that sort of thing. You know, a lot of times, you know, people who are involved in, you know, criminal activities, well, you can call them thugs, have no problem with that. But gang is a tricky word. The dictionary says that a gang is an organized group that is involved in criminal activities. Now, just because 6 people committed a crime, allegedly, it does not necessarily make them a gang. It may well be the case that the 6 individuals in this story were part of a gang, but there's nothing that says that 100%. The police is still investigating this story as far as I understand. There are still 3 people on the run that the police would like to talk to. It is only after the investigation that the police can actually determine that that incident involved an actual gang. This goes into the same thing that we've been talking about Apex. Apex is not really a gang. Until next time, stay blessed. Bye-bye.